And the spiritual subject matter is such that it's not very easy. Shurasya dhara nichita duratyaya. The spiritual life is like a double-edged sword. It's like a sharp razor. Kshura means shaving. Kshurasya dhara, the edge of a razor meant for shaving is very, very sharp. It has to be very, very sharp. Kshurasya dhara nishita duratyaya. And it is very, very difficult. It is to be handled very carefully. When a person is shaving, if he does not handle the razor very carefully, if he is negligent, if he sees somewhere here, sing something else and keeps doing like this, what will happen? His whole face will be full of bruises. When we are shaving, we don't think of anything else. A man will not think of anything else. He will be very careful. He will be looking at the mirror. He will stand in front of the mirror and he will be very careful how I am shaving. He will switch on the light. So much precautions he will take. When eating, we will be thinking of so many things. We will be looking at the mobile. We will be looking at TV. So many things we will do. Will you look at the mobile and watch some movie and do your shaving? Nobody will do. Because if you do, you will cut yourself. Everybody is very careful while shaving. But you can live without shaving. You cannot live without eating. Eating is more important than shaving. But still, when we are eating, we don't give any attention. But when we are shaving, we give a lot of attention. Why? Because there is a lot of risk involved. Therefore, the Katha Upanishad is saying, Shurasya dhara dishita duratyaya. The path in spiritual life is also very risky and dangerous like that. We have to engage in spiritual life very, very carefully. Kshurasya dhara nishita duratyaya. So this Durgam pataste kavayo vadanti. Durgam pataha, the patha, the path of spiritual life is Durgam, is very, very difficult and it is very, very risky also. Both. Kavayo vadanti. This is said by very, very learned people. Kavi means a learned person. Kavaya, the learned people, vadanti, they say that the path of spiritual life is not only risky, it is also dangerous. At any moment, we can get deviated and go off the path of spiritual life. Little bit deviation also from the established path, from the established standard, will take us to some other destination. We will not achieve the real destination. Just like when a flight takes off from some place, they have a radar and on board by which they navigate. How many degrees, how many minutes, which direction, northeast, which way they have to go. And they have to stick to that angle very, very precisely. When they are taking off, if they are off from the final destination by even 1 degree, 1 degree is a very small deviation. While taking off, the flight, suppose it is taking off from Chennai, and 1 degree it goes a little to the right, and the destination is Delhi. Finally, when it lands, where will it land? It will not land in Delhi. It will be landing somewhere in Burma or Bangladesh or somewhere else it will go and land. That means we have to be very, very accurate when we are traveling. Similarly, in the spiritual life also, there is a standard process. There are standard methods. There are standard activities which we have to do in spiritual life. If we deviate from those activities and from those principles, even by 1 degree, the final goal is getting liberated from this material world. We will not get liberated. We will go and land somewhere else. The whole purpose will be lost. Therefore, it is very, very important to stick to the standard principles, standard way of understanding the Vedas, and standard methods of practicing spiritual life. We cannot invent our own ways of following spiritual life. We cannot invent our own yogic methods, practices of yoga. We cannot invent. We cannot invent our own ways of understanding the Vedas. According to me, Bhagavad Gita is like this. According to me, the meaning of Ramayana is something else. According to me, the meaning of Krishna is something else. You cannot interpret in your own way. If you interpret in your own way, what will happen? You will not get the goal. you are trying to achieve by practicing those spiritual, by gaining that spiritual knowledge and practicing the spiritual principles. The real goal of the Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam, Ramayana, all these transcendental literature is to give us a taste of the spiritual world, give us an understanding of the super excellent qualities of the Supreme Lord, and develop our affection for Him, our attraction for Him, develop our love for Godhead, revive our love for Godhead. Our relationship with any person is established when we hear about the qualities of that person. When we hear this person is like that, he did like this in this instance, in this kind of difficult situation, this is how he behaved, these are his qualities. Like that, when we keep on hearing, we develop a certain kind of affection for that person. We develop an appreciation for that person. And then when we start engaging in some activities, having understood the nature of that person, when we start engaging in various interactions with that person, gradually our relationship develops. Similarly, the descriptions in the Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam, Ramayana, Mahabharata, all these transcendental literature, where the activities of Krishna and his incarnations are being described, they are meant to give us an understanding of the nature of Krishna, how Krishna thinks, what he likes, what he does not like. So that when we start exchanging our relationship with him, start exchanging activities in that relationship with him, we will know, okay, Krishna does not like this, let me not do this. I will do this, then Krishna will be pleased, let me do this. And when we engage in exchanges like that, what happens is, gradually our dormant love for Krishna will get revived and we'll be able to again re-establish our relationship with him. This is the whole purpose of the descriptions of the various avatars of the Supreme Lord. Now, if we start giving our own interpretations to all those leelas of the Lord and start analyzing in our own limited way, that, oh, Lord Rama did like this, he subjected Sita Devi to Agni Pariksha, that means he must be very insecure. All these kind of self-interpretations when we give, what happens is, we will get deviated from the real purpose of those descriptions. Why Lord Rama performed such an action? If we want to know, then we have to understand. There is a standard way of knowing. We have to understand from great acharyas like Ramanuja Acharya, Madhvacharya, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Srila Prabhupada. Such great personalities have described the Lord's Leelas and explained the reasoning behind such pastimes. There is a standard way of understanding. Everything is described in the Vedas. Why the performance of the pastimes of the Lord and why he performs such pastimes, what is his reasoning, what does he want to achieve by those pastimes, all those things are already described. And they are explained by the acharyas. Instead of hearing from them and understanding them, it is natural that as human beings we have intelligence, and doubting is a function of intelligence. It's a sign of intelligence. It's a symptom of intelligence. Doubting is not prohibited. But if you have a doubt, why Krishna did like this? Why Lord Rama did like this? Why Narasimhadev did like this? Then if you want an answer to that, you cannot speculate on your own and find out your own answer. You have to understand from the acharyas. What is the standard understanding? And when you understand that way, you will be able to appreciate more and more the personality of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And when we understand the personality of Krishna, we can really appreciate his greatness in every aspect of his. Greatness does not necessarily mean only being very powerful and all-controlling. Being omnipotent and all-powerful alone does not mean greatness. Greatness also means in terms of his various qualities. If somebody is very loving, that means he's a great person. If somebody is very forgiving, that also means he's a great person. If somebody is very grateful for even the smallest of any help received or some service received from someone, that is also a symptom of greatness. Krishna has all such qualities in unlimited proportions. Krishna has unlimited qualities in unlimited proportions which make him really great. Therefore, we have to understand the greatness of the Supreme Lord by understanding the Leelas of the Supreme Lord from the great Acharyas. Otherwise, Ksharasya Dhara Nishita Duratyaya. The path of spiritual life is very, very dangerous. If we start speculating and concocting things from our own fertile brain, we will only be condemning ourselves to lower and lower species of life where we will be steeped in ignorance.